Strange tales, yet mirrors of human life. Hey everyone! Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Strange Tales from Liaozhai. Today, I'm going to tell you two short stories. The first story is titled Medical Skill. Zhang, a poor man from Yishui County, struggled to make ends meet. One day, while walking along the road, he encountered a Taoist priest skilled in physiognomy. The priest studied his face carefully and said, "One day, you will become a wealthy man through a particular skill." Zhang was puzzled and asked, "What kind of skill should I pursue?" The priest examined his face again and replied, "You should become a doctor." Zhang was even more confused. "But I can barely read. How could I possibly be a doctor?" The priest chuckled. "You're overthinking it. Do you really believe that all great doctors are highly literate? Just do it and you'll see." Still doubtful, Zhang returned home. But faced with his ever-present poverty, he had no choice but to give it a try. He gathered some folk remedies and set up a small stall in the marketplace, relying on simple herbal treatments and a glib tongue to make a living. His stall displayed easily obtainable herbs, such as fish teeth and beehives, but passers-by scoffed at the idea that he had any real medical knowledge. As fate would have it, the governor of Qingzhou Prefecture fell ill with a severe cough and issued an official notice, summoning doctors from all the counties under his rule. Yishui County, being a remote and mountainous region, had very few doctors. The local magistrate, fearing he would fail to fulfill the governor's request, ordered the villages under his jurisdiction to nominate a healer. In Zhang's village, the residents, having no other candidates, unanimously put his name forward. The magistrate summoned him at once. At that time, Zhang himself was suffering from phlegmatic asthma, an illness he had yet to cure in himself. When he heard the magistrate's order, panic set in, and he repeatedly tried to refuse. But the magistrate wasn't interested in excuses. Determined to complete his task, he dispatched officers to seize Zhang and escort him by force to the governor's residence. The journey was arduous, with towering mountains stretching endlessly along the way. Zhang was parched, and his phlegmatic asthma grew worse with every step. At last, he arrived at a small village, but water was scarce in the mountains, so rare that its price rivaled that of fine wine. Zhang searched the entire village, begging for just a sip, but no one was willing to spare him any. Just as he was feeling utterly hopeless, he spotted a woman washing wild vegetables. She had more greens than water, so the liquid in the basin was murky and thick with a slimy residue. Overcome with thirst, Zhang had no choice but to plead with the woman for the leftover washing water. Desperate, he drank from the basin. To his astonishment, not only did his thirst subside, but his asthma vanished as well. Overjoyed, he thought to himself, this might be the cure for the governor's illness. Upon arriving in Qingzhou, Zhang learned that nearly every doctor from across the region had already attempted to treat the governor, yet none had been successful. Undeterred, Zhang requested a secluded, undisturbed space. He then deliberately wrote out a prescription and had someone fetch the prescribed herbs, though they were merely for show. Meanwhile, he secretly sent someone to the village he had passed through, instructing them to find the same type of wild vegetable the woman had been washing, veratrum. Following the woman's method, he washed the wild greens and collected the murky, viscous water. He then presented it to the governor as medicine. Miraculously, after just one dose, the governor's illness vanished. Overjoyed, the governor rewarded Zhang with a fortune in gold and even gifted him a gilded plaque as a token of gratitude. Word of his miraculous cure spread like wildfire, and soon, throngs of patients flocked to seek his expertise. With his newfound fame, Zhang treated countless people using his peculiar remedy. One day, a man suffering from typhoid fever came seeking treatment. He described his symptoms in detail, but Zhang, drunk at the time, mistakenly handed him medicine meant for malaria. By the time Zhang sobered up, he was stricken with fear, too terrified to admit his mistake. Yet, 3 days later, the very same man returned, bearing lavish gifts as a token of gratitude. Bewildered, Zhang asked what had happened. The man explained that after taking the medicine, he had suffered relentless diarrhea, only to find himself completely cured in the end. This sort of miraculous accident happened to Zhang time and time again. With each stroke of unexpected success, his wealth grew, his status soared, and soon, he became a man of great influence. Eventually, he refused to treat anyone unless they paid an exorbitant fee or sent a carriage to fetch him. There were many such stories. In Edo County, there was an old man named Han, a well-known physician. But before he gained fame, he was just a traveling herb seller. One day, while peddling his medicines, Han found himself without a place to stay for the night. He came upon a household and asked to lodge there. The family's son, however, was gravely ill with typhoid fever, teetering on the edge of death. Seeing that Han carried herbs, the host pleaded with him to treat the boy. Han knew that if he refused, he would lose his place to stay. But if he agreed, he had no idea how to cure the illness. He could only pace anxiously around the room, rubbing his body unconsciously, and to his surprise, he rolled off a small grime ball. Suddenly, an idea struck him. This dirt ball won't harm anyone. If I give it to the boy and it doesn't work, at least I'll have a place to sleep for the night. By morning, I'll be gone, and they can find another doctor in time. With that in mind, Han handed the small grime ball to the boy's father. At midnight, the host rushed to Han's door, knocking frantically. Panic surged through Han. He thought the boy had died, and the family was coming to take revenge. Terrified, he flung open the window and scrambled over the back wall, fleeing into the night. The host chased after him for miles. Seeing no escape, Han finally stopped, bowing his head and pleading for forgiveness. But to his astonishment, the man simply smiled and said, "The boy's condition has stabilized." Instead of punishing him, the family warmly invited Han back, treating him like an honored guest. And when he finally left, not only did they refuse to charge him for the lodging, but they also sent him off with a generous reward. The second story is titled, Unseasonal Snow. On the 6th day of the 7th month in the year of Dinghai, an unexpected heavy snowfall blanketed Suzhou. The people, stricken with fear and uncertainty, rushed to the great King Temple to offer sacrifices and prayers. Just as they were in the midst of their worship, the spirit of the temple's deity suddenly possessed one of the worshippers. In a loud and commanding voice, it declared, "You all call me Lord, but why do you not precede it with the word great? Do you think I am merely a minor deity, unworthy of such a title?" Terrified, the crowd immediately cried out in unison, "Great Lord!" And just like that, as if by some miracle, the snow stopped falling. It seems even the gods enjoy flattery. No wonder those who excel at sycophancy often reap greater rewards. At the end of this tale, the author offers his own commentary. I often lament how social customs have changed, how the powerless have become increasingly servile, while those in power grow ever more arrogant. During the 40-plus years of Emperor Kangxi's reign, the traditional titles for scholars were completely overturned, leading to absurd designations. For example, from the 20th year of Kangxi's reign, the title Master was used for those who passed the provincial examinations. By the 30th year, successful candidates of the imperial examination were addressed as Lord. Government officials, from as early as the 25th year, were addressed as Your Excellency. In earlier times, even when a mere county magistrate addressed a grand secretary, he would simply call him Venerable Sir. But now, who would dare use such a modest title? Even upright gentlemen have long grown accustomed to this culture of flattery, drifting along with the tide, too fearful to object. As for officials' wives being called Madam, this too is a recent trend. In the past, only the mothers of high-ranking officials and nobles were granted this honorific. If we look back to the novel Jin Ping Mei, even in the distinguished Lin and Xiao families, only the matriarchs of these noble houses were addressed in such a manner. Such a title was unheard of elsewhere. Going even further back, during the Tang dynasty, when the emperor sought to bestow the title of Grand Academician upon Zhang Yu, Zhang humbly declined, saying, "I can accept the title of Academician, but why must Grand be added? I dare not accept such an honor." Yet today, any official, no matter how lowly, is addressed with the Grand. Who was the first to start this trend? Perhaps it all began with petty flatterers, eager to please their superiors. And now, officials not only accept these titles without shame, but they wear them as badges of honor. The word grand has spread across the land, becoming commonplace. Sometimes I wonder, give it a few more years, and those addressed as the Master will surely want to be called Lord. Those called Lord will wish to be Your Excellency. Eventually, they will all become Your Excellency, but then what title will they covet next? Following this progression, it is difficult to imagine where it will end. On the third day of the 6th month in the same year, a similar event occurred in Guide Prefecture, Hunan. A sudden snowfall more than a foot deep blanketed the land, freezing entire fields of crops. Unfortunately, the local villagers did not know how to flatter the gods, and so they suffered the disaster. Such a world, how truly disheartening it is. Alright. That's all for today's strange tales, medical skill, and unseasonal snow. If you enjoyed these stories, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Please also encourage everyone to comment and share more. We'll see you in the next episode.